Welcome everyone to the third installation of our Making Move series, driving waste reduction through strategic communication. Are your sustainable effort making an impact? How do you know and how do you communicate this to your market? How to monetize your waste and what are the benefits of participating in a circular economy? And how to effectively track your sustainable effort. We'll be going through all these questions in our sessions today, but before we dive in, let's give it a minute for more attendees to join us. Remember, feel free to drop any questions while we go, and we will make sure to go through those questions at the end of the session. Me and Cam, and we are giving away free 1 year memberships of Aspire Plus, the Smart Carbon Communicator, the starter package, which is valued over 2,497 annually. Only thing you have to do is comment in the comment section that you are interested in the product, and we'll be selecting the winners at the end of this event. While you're waiting as well, let us know where you're watching and if you have any specific questions for Cameron or myself. All right, let's make some move. Welcome again, everyone, to our events driving waste reduction through strategic communication. My name is Mo Hamdouna. I'm thrilled to be with you today. We're diving into a topic that's really it's in the heart of today's business landscape: waste, sustainability, and effective communication. But first, few people have asked me personally on the side or in different events I meet them, why more works running these events? Why a creative agency leading and bringing this conversation here to LinkedIn and beyond? Um, the answer I thought I would share it with everyone. As a creative agency that with a mission to empower businesses who are running the future, we work with specific companies in renewable, sustainability, and energy space to help them position their business or product and share their story in the right spot, communicate their sustainability effort, and build and educate their customers and build demand around their product to make them sustain. In other words, we're here to make our partners thrive, grow, and have a sustained growth. And for this, we're bringing awareness in different opportunities for our client and mainly how to find profitability in sustainability. Today, we will have a special focus on waste and opportunities in waste, circular economy, and more. And for this, I'm thrilled to introduce Cameron McKenzie from Aspire. Cam, welcome.
Thanks, Mo. Really appreciate the opportunity to sit here and work with my works and the team and communicate what we're doing here at Aspire and how we can help businesses, make that shift and move that needle. So really happy to be here and happy to contribute.
Perfect. For those who doesn't know, me and Cam, we got introduced through the Hatch Quarter program, the MENA Bridge, and we worked together on a few things. But most importantly, we traveled together to Saudi Arabia back in March to attend a BBAN event through a mission led by Hatch Quarter, and from there we had this different discussion around what Cam does, Aspire. Provide. And I thought this is a brilliant value that we can share with the community. So I'm really glad to have you on with us today. But we should start, Cameron, to kick things off. Can you share with our audience why it's crucial for businesses to embrace their waste and participate in the circular economy, and what is a circular economy for anyone who is not sure exactly what is circular economy?
Yeah, no problems, Mo. And it's really important, I think, in today's day and age. There's probably about 3 questions there. Remind me if I don't hit all of them. Yeah, but basically, there's a lot of things changing, obviously, in the environment, in the Australian environment and the global environment. And then when that comes to, obviously, waste reduction, decarbonisation targets and climate change, they're probably the more 4 or 5 different things that we really need to focus on. And it's a report come out not long ago that said basically if we need to hit these decarbonisation targets and these climate change targets, what they need to do is renewables is great, but it's only going to hit us to about 60% of where we need to go. The rest of it is circular economy, waste reduction, reuse, repurpose, and shifting everyone's mindset. Just that's a little figure or a fact that I normally tend to say at the start to sort of trigger people's attention. And basically, even just in Australia, the Australian federal government put out a waste report back in 2018, and it said that just a 5% shift in the material efficiency in Australia will add $67 trillion to Australia's economy. Okay, so that's not a small number. We had in 2018 if you make those shift, and those 5% shift, that's not, that's compounding. So you make that shift in the first year, and you're going to be already making those shifts. So it's going to be another 5% on top of that, right? So it compounds that impact. So, what you need to do is start making these changes, and you really got to start getting on the boat, right, and start having a look at your business models, because you're going to get left behind. And you see now that a lot of organisations now, anyone with a stakeholder or shareholder, they're demanding these changes and seeing what you're doing regarding your sustainability goals, right? So it's a big shift. And when it comes to circular economy and what it is, it's, waste reduction or that's, or recycling. That's probably at the last. That's one little segment of the circular economy, but it's all about designing the waste out at the start, seeing what you can do to minimise that impact, see how you can be able to deconstruct these projects, especially in the built environment, a lot cleaner and a lot quicker, to get them reused and repurposed at the end of the life. So everyone hears about, the 3 R's: reuse, repurpose, recycle, but you also got to remember the R's at the bottom. So there's all different. There's re-commerce. There's all different type of things that people are doing at the moment. It's all about making those shifts one step at a time. And that's one of the reasons why, we're here showing you and going to be talking about Aspire Plus later. Because what it is, it's the first step in probably about 10 steps of those circular economy goals.
Yeah, we'll dive into Aspire Plus shortly, but I just like to comment on some of what you mentioned, because with circular economy, as you mentioned, like, it's how to think of the waste when you design your product, which is a perfect thing. It's either thinking of it from the material you use, or when the product will finish, the end life of the product, how it can be either repurposed or reused. So integrating this as part of the thinking can make everything or all the other steps or the different 3 R's later on much easier when this is done. So this is a brilliant move, and I believe there's enough social pressure at the moment, and I believe awareness that this need to start being integrated as part of what you aspire as, or the product itself or its KPIs, instead of just the normal measures that we have. We need to start thinking of these products, what's their efficiency for it to be reused, repurposed, or recycled later on. It's interesting that you started speaking about the benefit of the waste from the lens of um, generating more revenue, basically, and adding to the economy itself, which is, of course, it's a brilliant thing. And I believe it should be one of the key driver why everyone should get into circular economy, or monetizing or utilizing waste, and looking at it as an opportunity. But also, of course, I mean, the obvious one is it has the environmental impact itself. It and it have other cost saving effect as well. Cameron, if you want to just add a little bit more about how potentially we can utilize those resources so it doesn't go to waste, or so eliminate and more nothing go to waste.
Yeah, no problem. I think it's all about creating those sustainable business connections, right? So it's all about how you can establish these connections, talk to the businesses about what's coming out and what's going into another business. There's a term called industrial end symbiosis, right? So what that is, it's one business's end product going into another. So, like, I can give you like a prime example of that. We've got a business on Aspire that was probably costing about $8,000 a month, sending perfectly good fresh produce to landfill. Perfectly good, because it was the quickest and easiest thing to do. By using Aspire, we basically matched them with businesses within their region. One was literally 5 kilometres down the road. These guys have been established for 30 years. almost waved to each other. They knew each other, but they never thought they could connect on this level. And basically, with that was a zoo actually. And they also connected with a business that makes meals for disadvantaged Australians, which is absolutely fantastic. Some of it got composted and some of it went to a pig farm. But at the end of the day, after probably about 2 months of using the platform, they got that price down to about $1,000. So, and that was amazing. So that's some of the benefits of making these long-term business connections and actually thinking about other options rather than just sending it to landfill or to a waste contractor. So it's very, very important.
Perfect. So with these examples, we hitting the three marks. One business monetize their waste instead of throwing it in or dropping it in landfill. The first business. Second business build a new relationship and manage to cut their costs down by using this waste. Third hit, we minimize what goes into landfill and supported the sustainable impact, have a much bigger of impact. So this from one deal can happen, for example, in Inspire or this kind of relationship, we hitting the three different marks. Other example that I like to use is apparel company, which is the leading so far in the textile recycling and repurposing aspect by diverting tons and tons of amount of clothes, uniforms to go directly from landfill, and now they're utilizing it. They repurpose some for charities. Other now they start producing their own product, and they start building new relationship with companies who use it as foam fillers for furniture, acoustic panels, and more. Suddenly, they open a whole new market out of really a thin air of out of nothing, and as a result, they they're making well. They're starting a new business. They providing their clients better material plus things for them to communicate about. Like if instead of they having to produce new fillers or acoustic panels from different materials, they can proudly say that we are using these recycled textile in our product, and we're doing our part on supporting the environment, making an impact on everyone's life as well. So honestly, like this, it just this kind of communication support every aspect, while it's making everyone more profit. Like it just
Yeah.
it's an interesting take to, on it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to supplement that, Mo, like the whole thing that like apparel do really well, as you're saying, is creating the pull through, right? So it's all about communicating to the people that they're getting the resource from. They go, hey, give it to us, we can reprocess it, and then you can use it for acoustic panels. You can use it for all types of different things. So, and what they do is obviously is create the pull through, and that's half the battle, right? There's no problem with everyone having a problem with a waste stream, or but it's about how you can create the pull through or turn it into another product that can be purchased and hopefully go back to it. So, yeah, it's something that I know, yeah, they do quite well.
Yes, yes, because as well, at one stage become a challenge. How do we need to keep getting, how we keep getting people recycling their textile with us and start pushing things because they want to create a demand for the new textile products or recycled product. They also needed to ensure that they're going to keep getting the supply of textile waste that they can use. So that's why they went off and started doing those amazing partnership with different organization to ensure their pipeline is filled. So the end or the second tier business know that they can depend on them and that they know that waste will keep coming. Because I believe this is also it's one of the challenges facing businesses is they don't know if they can depend on this source that it's continuous for them so they can fully replace it with what they currently using. Is this correct, Cameron, from your experience?
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about how you can get. It's all good having one connection, but you need connections for or the same resource as an input or almost a consign to them for a period of time, so you can build a business case around it, and then you can actually start, changing your internal processes. One-off connections are great, but it normally starts to stimulate that thought knowledge around okay, why can't we do this long term? What's going to be the business effects if we do this long term? And the most important way, how do we communicate it internally? So we can actually cause this ripple effect through the business.
Perfect. Is it possible if you actually share with us some of other interesting potentially partnership or um, like that happen on Aspire itself, like from your experience and some of the odd thing that you saw on the platform?
Yeah, I've got probably two. We've got an example of a exchange that happened probably about a week ago, I think, and I've got one from early days which absolutely blew my mind. I still actually spoke about it the other day. Yeah, so basically there was one that we had an organisation that had a lot of road tailings like bitumen that came from I think a flood knocked half of it off the road. So, and it was going to cost them about $75,000, I think, to dispose of it, to get a contract to dispose of it. But what they did is they put it on their platform, on their Aspire platform, just as an internal, just so that inside business can see it. And there was someone that thought, hey, we could do with that. And what they did is they used it for a walking track around a velodrome, right? So and it was their resource. Like they're going to pay someone a lot of money to get rid of it, where they could actually repurpose it. Like I think it was 2 kilometers from where it was. So come from a $75,000 expense, it came down to a bit of transportation, a bit of diesel, and a bit of labour to get it around the site. So that was like amazing, great exchange. And that's a quite common, like in the C&D space. And we
Yes.
actually had one other one I'll quickly go through is we had another organisation that had, I think it was about 7 or 8 tons of seaweed that they listed on the platform. And I saw it get listed. I just scratched my head going, I'm not quite sure if this is going to move. And about a day later, it went, someone took it, someone wanted it, and they needed it as a clean feedstock for fly larvae. So, yeah, so again, that was just like, I didn't even think that they could do it. But the business that took it on the demand side, half their problem was like 2-3 days a week they're driving around trying to pick up this feedstock, right? So it's a lot of very time consuming. But what they did is by finding this new feedstock, they didn't even think about using it before. But now they've got that constant arrangement where the resource goes to the demand side frequently. So you get those sort of connections. You see we had a 7-ton, 150-year-old piece of machinery, like I think it was a folding machine that went onto it. I didn't know what was going to happen, and an old bar picked it up and took it as as an ornament in the bar. So, that's perfect example.
Perfect. I mean, it's definitely someone's waste can be other person treasure basically in here. There's many other great examples. Maybe we'll share more as we go. But if you want to shift some gears and speak about something else, now once you start managing your waste and finding other channels for it to go to, you start monetize it, or you shift your business to start depending on recycled material and or different ways in your production or in building your product avenues. Obviously, this it's a great thing you're doing it. You're um, either saving or making more income. But how this effort can be measured? Um, how can you track and the sustainable effort you're making? It's something more and more the compliance coming in and will be requiring companies to report and track, etc. It's happening. There is multiple providers coming in, popping up for this specific solution for different industries, but it obviously adding more pressure on businesses, or I don't say pressure, but introducing a new type of task for them to do to start tracking those activities and the impact of it. So the initial question I have in my mind: why it's important to track this effort, and what are the best way to start tracking it for B2B businesses or businesses who work on a large scale.
Yeah.
Is it possible if you share some information with us, Cam?
Yeah, absolutely. So it really comes down to what we've found over the last several years is basically it comes down to the size of the business, right? So they've got different drivers, different things to make them, make that decision. Like basically, even like 2 years ago, I used to think about it was money and time, right? That were the two drivers for any business that did it, but it's incorrect, right? It's efficiency and margin. So So if you're going to make a business, if by using like a platform like Aspire and measuring these impacts and making these changes, if it's going to make you more efficient, they will do it. And it's also got to improve their margin, right? So you get these smaller businesses that will be doing okay. They're making maybe 10, 20%, profit margin, but, they might be turning over $500,000. So, but if you're going to increase their turnover to like $1 million a year, and they're only making 2-3%, they won't do it, right? It's more work, more effort for less return. So you've got to think a little bit more like a small business. Where you get to the larger organisations, like we work with some pretty big orgs, right? And what their big driver is the embodied carbon or the carbon emission savings, what they're doing off it. So, one of the things that we saw back when we were in Riyadh at the start of the year, they've got some big audacious decarbonisation targets, right? And very bold, great thing to do, but they're still working out the best way to do that, to hit that. Offsets are one thing, but that's not really that efficient. So, but one of the things, sort of like what we do on the platform at Aspire, is there's probably 2 or 3 main metrics that we measure. One's return on investment, so how much these businesses are making, and that's how much money they're actually they're saving as well as they're earning from a transaction. So that's 2 main things. And one thing that makes, again, us probably pretty unique is we're ISO verified to be reporting on embodied carbon savings or avoidance. So we think about it. One of the things that we do is if a prime example, like a ton of tyres, right, is 3.2 tons of carbon. So if you exchange that through the platform, we can actually provide certificates to reward you and to sponsor the platform and to sponsor the business. We've got a lot of our organisations that use those metrics or those certificates that we generate to go towards their annual goals and annual targets. So again, it's sort of like there's the renewables that they do, but again, this is the circular economy metrics around how they're decarbonising their circular solutions or their value chain, or it's more around the sort of scope 3 rather than your scope 1 and 2, which are pretty common.
Perfect. Is it possible to take us through a demo of Aspire Plus, Cameron, and show some of those examples and how businesses can track and what we can track and how, and then we can discuss how this can benefit their business, their shareholders, their customers, and of course anybody they have to report to and comply with.
Yeah, no problem. So what I'll do is I'll play. I've got a video here about Aspire Plus that I'll play, and then what I'll do is I'll pause it and talk a little bit deeper into it. But what I find, this is probably a good way to communicate across the market and how we communicate it. But one of the things too, like Aspire Plus is like a retrospective. So what we use this as is like a baby step into your circular journey or your transformation. But Aspire is like from today onwards. So what have you got put on the platform? And Aspire Plus is you can go back up to 12 months and measure your baseline, if that makes sense.
Perfect.
But what I'll do is I'll share my screen and then we'll just go through this. Yep.
Yeah, I just want to remind everyone watching us today, if you have any questions about what we have been discussing so far, please add it to the comment. If you will be interested in using Aspire Plus for your business and win a 1-year membership, please also comment in the comment section, and because we will be selecting winners at the end of this call and give them this 1-year free membership.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, you can see the screen. Yep.
Yes.
Excellent. So I'll just play this video, and then there's it's a pretty easy process with Aspire Plus. There's 3 steps, but I'll pause each one of the steps.
Sure, let's do it.
Can't hear this?
We can't really hear the sound, but potentially we can share the link in the comment section for everyone to watch it afterwards.
Yeah, no problem. I can hear it loud and clear, but obviously, yeah, no problem. So, well, I'll just get to this sort of step one. But basically, what it's about is basically adding, joining the Aspire platform, registering yourself as a business, and we can find out exactly where you're situated, and that really helps towards the carbon tracking efforts. I'll just shift along. So there's some of the information you add. And basically, what you do is you create an address book of all the businesses that you transact with, right? So if you've been purchasing from someone for a while, um, or you've been accepting products for a while, what you do is you add that business into the platform. So we create like an address book of the user or the person you're working with. I'll just play this once again. Yeah, so you go through this process. It's quite easy and simple. So yeah, so basically, and from there, once you've got the business loaded into your address book, what you do is you go through and add the transaction or what the item is. So basically, you go here and you select the company you've been transacting with. Just say if it's use that tires example, you can put tractor tires or anything there. You select the resource, what it is. You add your attributes, different elements like that. Your quantity, your units. And also you also use you can put a quality scale in it and you can put a frequency in it. So if you're doing it once a week or it's once a month transaction, you can all do that, right? It's no problem. And off the back of that, you'll see here as an example, just enter enough information. Takes less than probably about 5 minutes. I'll just pause and get to the next one. Range on it, resource listing, quantity, tons. You go to add, right? And then what you do is you submit, hit submit, right? And what that does, it goes through the methodology of the platform, right? All the ISO verified measurements that we do. And basically what it does is it goes through the calculations, comes up, and then it goes to basically back to your goes back to your dashboard, and it tells you here, Aspire Plus, you can see what your CO2 savings has been from that one exchange. It can also tell you how much tons you diverted, resources exchange. You can see there on the revenue part of it, that's the earnings versus savings, right? So what you've earned versus your saved. So, and what we can do at the end of the month depends with this offer that we're putting out with MoWorks, we'll add the certificates to it. So it'll generate a certificate once a month on your impact. Okay. And then with that, you'll just be able to go into your profile section, and then you can and then what you can do is add what you need to do. You add it certificates, and you can view them and download them and send them and do what you want, share them and communicate them to your network. So I think that's a really important aspect of it. Yeah, just go through the end here, and that's about it. So yeah, so basically, if you just want to scan that QR code, what that'll do is it'll take you through to Aspire Plus, and it'll show you what we do. Yeah, and there's different add-ons you can get, so you can actually do all types of stuff. You can get unlimited transactions. You can get 25 transactions if that's what you're doing per month. There's all different elements we can do there. But at the end of the day, what this does is it sort of breadcrumbs people and industry to the next steps on their circular journey. So
Brilliant. Thank you, Cam. And remember, everyone, if you're interested to try this product for your business, do leave a comment, and we'll be selecting the specific winners to enjoy 1 year membership with Aspire Plus. Now, if if we want to discuss more that specific final page that has all the data comes out of it, the way I look at it from an agency point of view that work with companies to help them communicate their sustainable effort. This kind of insight that we get from there is potentially what we don't have to use tangible insight and better communicate the effort we our clients are doing. Because so far, part of obviously when the challenge of communicating sustainable effort is not fall into the trap of greenwashing, which is as a result, lots of businesses more and more are getting scared to communicate their effort because they worry if they communicate too much and they said something wrong, someone will pick it up and will will turn them into greenwashing and get them to this different effect. We all seen the latest Apple ad about their sustainable effort and everything they're doing. As much as it has a good response to it, but there's lots of people, they just hammering basically their effort and questioning everything they're doing, and they more and more or confirming that this is really a greenwashing campaign instead of celebrating the effort that is happening, and seeing it at this campaign from Apple can be a pressure on pressure and awareness for other companies to start communicating their effort. So where I'm going with what I'm sharing is having those results from a platform like Aspire Plus or other platforms can give us those great insights and confident to share specific number that has measure behind it, has confirmation. Is this the case, Cam? Have you heard some case studies of people using your product and start using those what they produce to communicate the effort itself?
Yeah, we absolutely have. Like even just an example of like Aspire Plus. So we probably about 12 months ago, like we are just trialing and launching the platform. So we gave it to some friendlies, as you would say. And one guy, actually based out of Queensland, he actually put 23,000 transactions through the platform, which was, yeah, we weren't expecting that. We expected maybe about 100 or 200, but he gave us a good run with it. We end up measuring, I think it was about $13 million worth of savings that he'd made by making these sustainable changes in his business. I think it was close to about 180,000 tonnes of CO2 emissions saved. And from that, he used that information to, and now he's in the finalist for a couple of really prestigious awards at the back of that. So he used that information and communicated it. Some businesses don't like communicating; they just like that baseline to see what they can do. But also, too, we had another business in Melbourne that basically what they did is they used a lot of the information out of Aspire and what they've been doing and the connections that we've already had, and they actually used that for a grant to launch into Queensland. So they've got actually in their profile, they've got sort of about 4 or 5 different locations, and 3 of them I think are in Victoria, and 2 of them are in Queensland. So basically, what they can do is they can list the resources and make the right decisions when they need to.
Perfect. I mean, it's more and more um, required or asked for. As I mentioned at the start, there is real social pressure, and customers want to know, and they start looking to find some answers so they can make better decision on where they purchase. Also, larger buyers are demanding this for their customer. They want to know if they are doing the right thing to
Mm-hmm.
continue purchase from them, like Coles, Woolies, etc. They start asking for those either certification, numbers, figures. They want to know because everyone will be questioned soon. So, which is come back to how to, from our point of view, we think of it how to effectively communicate your sustainable effort. What are the measures or tactic you should be considering using? It's all, of course, as start by being authentic, by using the right information that you have, and not mainly not making it sounds much bigger than what it is in reality is. So that's why, depending on specific figures, result can make your claims much more efficient, and minimize your risk of someone coming coming after you and saying, okay, those numbers you mentioned, it's just doesn't make sense, it's too much large, are you trying to hide something? Because this is what's happening. People who are talking about their effort are the one getting questioned, instead of going to question the people who does not talk at all about their effort.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of the, let's say, the, I don't say the sad part of communicating your sustainability effort, but it's the challenge that is currently happening. That's why many people who actually doing good things, they just not talking about it
Mm-hmm.
because they don't want to say something, and people coming after them. Um, But yeah, what else?
Yeah.
Making it simple. I mean, if you look at the data you have in your platform, you have some graphs, some information that can be easier communicated to people. I believe this is a great thing. Using basic language, providing those certification backstories, or I'm not sure if your platform offer like a live link that can be utilized by the client so they can add it to their website so their customers can click in and see their results. If not, potentially this can be a feature can that you want to add on the platform,
Mhm.
because this will allow businesses to easier share their effort and make it publicly available, or they can choose what to make available or not. But what else? Is there any other way, Cam, from your point of view, that to help businesses communicate their sustainable effort?
Absolutely. We've like some of our enterprise clients. A lot of them have got links on their website to this is what Aspire is. This is what we're doing. We're supporting our value chain or supply chain in using the platform. So they do that. Some of them don't. But also another feature that we've got on the main platform Aspire is we've got a theme change and a personalization. So you can see on the Aspire platform it says Aspire at the top. You can actually replace that with your own logo. So anyone in your value chain or supply chain, when they log in under your subscription, they can see, hey, it's MoWorks, right? Hey, you can see it's Hatch Quarter, right? So you can actually do that. So we find that as a good communication tool, and it gives ownership, right? So
Yes.
a lot of businesses they don't know who Aspire is, right? And what we want to do is basically when they log in for the first time, we want to see who's actually helping them be more sustainable or helping them on their journey. So having that tag is really great. Um, and when it sort of comes down to the validation of sort of the value and savings, we've got a carbon declaration on and a landing page which sort of shares the methodology or some of the things that we do around it. We get tested frequently on it, which is great because that's validation. But also too, when businesses and that use it, they go from our calculations, where it should be here, but you're saying that we're here. And I said, yeah, well, we're being conservative with the numbers because if you get tested, right, this is all about information that you're giving us, right, and we're calculating it to give it to you. But if you're overshooting it, right, it's not going to help anyone, right? It's not going to help you. It's not going to help us. So we frequently get your numbers are pretty conservative. I'm going, they're good to communicate then, right? We don't want to be over communicating them incorrect numbers.
Because 100%. In the comment section, we have a question about your calculation. I will share it shortly, but um, it's an interesting question. I also would love to get an answer for it. But about the communicating your sustainability effort, the ACCC has provided a draft guideline so far to how to support your environmental claims, and I'll just share a few points from there. Mainly avoid using vague and qualified claims, quite straightforward. Provide sufficient evidence, either from platform, from certification, from different partners who can give you those, can support your claims. Be aware of those absolute claims: 100% natural, 100% effective. We're using 100% of our waste. If you like to compare with anything, make it very clear you're comparing what to what and in what context. And most importantly, be aware of exaggerating your effort. As you said, exactly what you just mentioned, Cam. Instead of try to minimize your effort and be on the safe side, instead of saying something that you can't really support, or you have measured it in a wrong way. Finally, use appropriate images, and this has become more about your brand, your visuals, your marketing positioning. Using specific things can be misleading, and you want to be aware of this. So if you have been doing this in the past and it was fine, things are changing, and it's definitely the time to reconsider and rethink of the type of images, text, content that you have been using to communicate your sustainability effort. If you have more questions on this, please add it to the comment, because we are now moving to to address some of the questions that we received. Received a few, so the team at Moworks try making their brilliant job to select some of the questions, and I'm being conscious of time, so we'll see how much we can handle from it. First questions for you, Cam. What approvals, verifications do you have for the calculations at Aspire Plus?
Yeah, no problem. Good question. So what we do as an organisation is we work with a local company in Australia. They've got probably about 200 or 300,000 embodied carbon values of every product that you could imagine, right? So what we do is we don't hold that information ourselves, because that's like a whole different kettle of fish, and those numbers get verified frequently and get changed all the time. So what we do is when someone lists an item to say hardwood, what we do is they pick. There's a couple of different variants of hardwood, obviously, and the weight of it could be varied. But what they do is we pull that metric from their database, goes back through our methodology to verify it, and all that methodology has been verified. So basically, when you actually list the resource, it's got an embodied carbon value of that product, right? Of that's just where it is now and what's doing it, and what you want to do, if it's recyclable, if it's contaminated, or whatever from that. And what will happen too is we actually have got transportation in our metric too. So basically, when you pick it up or when it transacts, that metric will change slightly to deal with the transportation of it. So as a transportation, it's not, we work off like a 20-ton truck. That's the truck that we use, and that's the transportation we use. There's different variants, as you know, when it comes to transportation. It could be it could be Ford Ranger car, or it could be whatever. So, but what we do is we use that as a basic metric. Again, very conservative.
Okay. There's a question from Miguel here. What are the effective ways to engage stakeholders in circular economy initiative? So, Cam, from your experience, how do you get people to give Aspire a go, trying to go into it? What are potentially some of the concerns for anyone to start this journey itself? And if there's any specific initiative that you believe have worked in the past, potentially if you can share it with us.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's all about, when it comes to businesses, trying to go circular, it's obviously you got to find their driver, but you got to make it as seamless and easy as possible. So we work on direct and indirect network effects. So we'll have like an enterprise client, and depending on who they are, where they're located, and what they want, any business within their value chain or supply chain can join Aspire for free under that. So what that does, it makes them, or that enterprise client, we like to call them, as that thought leader in their value chain, right? So we're doing this, we're going on the journey, we're bringing you with us, and by that, we're supplementing this platform for you. So that's a good way that we look to do that. And what you do, I don't know if you, it's all about communicating what you're doing and how you sort of fit in the circular ecosystem. And that's what we try to do. We jump on webinars like this. We run our own webinars. Earlier this year, we had, I don't know if anyone sort of followed it, but the Netherlands brought out a world first strategy on circular economy. And it was announced. It wasn't translated into English yet, but we actually had a webinar with the guy from the Netherlands who actually wrote it. So we had a webinar with it and communicated about what they're doing and how they've done it and the thought process around it. And I know the Australian government, they're doing a lot at the moment around track and traceability frameworks that they're building, which again is very, very important. So it's all about how you communicate that, but it's all about aligning with policy and procedures that are coming up. Like we've been, one of the things with the track and traceability framework is all around is the validation of where the resources come and where it's going. So we've added a geolocation software in the platform that'll help businesses verify that.
Perfect. I was in an event earlier this week with the Victorian cluster, the Clean Tech Victorian cluster, and I was hearing from Earth System. They were speaking about their biochar product. I'm seeing some of the comments here from Frank, I believe, about biochar. So make me remember this. And part of their challenge so far is helping educating businesses and people about the use of biochar and how it can be utilized, because you can produce a lot. They have the machinery for it, um, but the applications or the use of the how to utilize this one and different applications, still we need a lot of education for it. It's happening really well in other countries like in Poland or Sweden and other places, but not yet in really here in Australia. So, and it has its own um, benefit in terms of turning waste into biochar instead of going to landfill. It's carbon negative product, so it can be put back in ground. It support fertile lands and more, but it has different usage as well. And the whole educating process to make people jump on board with this product and find ways to utilize it is obviously a challenge. And the communication was, we just simply need to tell a story about it. We need to just communicate how this can be used, why it's important, how it can turn your waste into another product that can be used. Because this is for the hard waste that you cannot really turn it to many things, or you don't find buyers for it. Simple product can be biochar, but obviously, way to go. There's more questions coming in. There's one specific questions for you, Cam, which is from Chantel. She's asking if your product is based Australia based only, and if you have any plan to take this product internationally, specifically in Asia.
Good question. And yeah, it's in the pipeline. We're looking at international markets at the moment. As Australia is really great, I think we're establishing here. We're still growing, but I think it's really important to go to new markets. Where hopefully soon enough be landing in Singapore, which would be a great opportunity. And from there, obviously Singapore is a big leader in that Asian region, and hopefully from that we can double down and use that as a market entry plan into Asia. Also, another market we're looking at the moment, where we met, or spent a lot of time, I should say, Mo, over in the MENA region. So we're going through a program at the moment in Qatar, which will hopefully springboard us. A lot of what we learn over there is about that 2030 vision. It's only around the corner. It's only literally almost 6 years, 6.5 years away. So there's going to be a lot of changes quite soon. Asia's got a big drive for it, right? They used to take a lot of our plastics before the blue sky ban from China, but a lot of it already went to other regions like Indonesia and a few others like that. So I think it's going to be really important to create these markets around these products, not these grey markets. But I understand Australia is only, 24, 25 million. And, it's huge. It's a small market. So, but what we want to do is optimize it.
Yes, I mean, for Australia, the way I look at it is this market that allow us to perfect specific products, because it is small, but the demand is high, the expectation is high as well, and we don't settle for an average product. So I believe it's great. It's a great place to start, grow, test, and have this perfect market fit product. From there, we also a great launch pad to other regions. So Southeast Asia, MENA region, both are big emerging market that's really coming really fast. This is what we saw there in our visit, is they're really hungry for the change. As you said, it's 6 years. We're gonna be in 2030 vision, and it seems like they're gonna make it, because the amount of effort, investment, and desire to make it happen is huge. Um, but this one, it's for another topic. Please, if you interested in Aspire Plus, reach out to me directly, and I'll connect you with Cam and the team, or leave us a comment here, because we will be selecting some winners after the session and reach out to you directly with the special promo code. Once you do it and in the platform, share back your result with us, and we would love to communicate your effort. But I believe it's a wrap for our session. Cameron, thank you again for your time and sharing more about what you do at Aspire and your knowledge in the space itself. It just as a quick reminder to for everyone here, I just want to emphasize that sustainability currently it's still a journey. It's a new journey for lots of companies, lots of businesses, and we, as much as we know a lot, but we're still figuring out a few things. So my really advice or wish, take it easy on the people who are communicating their sustainable effort, because they're the one who's doing, trying their best. Encourage them or fix something that you feel is wrong. Go there from this positive mind that maybe you did this one wrong, you should fix it, instead of trying to attack. And if you have this effort and you want to go after the people who's doing it wrong, go and find the people who's not communicating at all, and potentially put your effort over there. If you are in B2B space, you're running your business and you have been doing great things and you want to communicate it, please reach out to me and I will work with you, or happy to chat how we can communicate this effort. If you're interested to reposition your company or business and build a great product with brilliant experience as well, reach out to me and we can discuss it further. But by this, Cameron, thank you again for your time. Pleasure to have you. I look forward for our next trip somewhere else. For the audience, thanks for coming. Thanks for the amazing discussion and the questions. I'll try to answer a few on in the comments, but keep making those sustainable moves. Remember, every effort counts, and there's some apps that can track it for you as well. So thank you all, and we'll see you in our next event.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for participating. Thank you.
Thank you.